Okay, remember, I have a new scene chart. You need to, if you don't remember, it's up here on my desk.
Seriously? Oh, you don't like push it down all the way. It's like, oh, it's just like there.
It's like 3D.
Whoa.
Okay,
You want this is weird. How much was it?
Yeah, I thought myself fading. I'm really other shit. You need to sit down like this.
You need to.
I'm like, it shouldn't matter.
Go.
I tell her.
Is it graded?
Really?
Okay, hey, as promised today, we're going to go over the first couple problems of your practice guide. So I'm going to hand those out here in a second. Then after we're done with the first review of that, then what we'll do is we'll go over, we'll start and we'll give you time where you can actually look at your page 61 and stuff. That was, page 61 is mostly just look at a picture, tell me what classification it is. So it's like, oh, this is a square, or oh, it's a hendecagon. And then you have to tell me, is it convex or concave? Is that a cavity or not? And then is it regular or irregular? Most pictures are irregular. Regular is when all the walls and all the angles match. So that's a very rare case. And then there's a couple where they ask you to find area and perimeter. So those are pretty straightforward. We went through those problems yesterday. I think those videos will be online today. They haven't went up yet. So they'll be online this morning. I'm still posting them. It's actually taking forever still. Okay. But let's hand these out so you have them now. It's 2 pages. It's a front, back, front kind of thing. I'm not stapling it, so that way it's easier to kind of like to look at. So you can staple it when we actually turn these in. These are what we do on Friday when we actually take the test. Make sense? So it's like we're gonna go through these in class, so you should be able to fill these out as we go. So it's not a big deal. So don't be like stressed that this is one more piece of homework. We actually go through it together in class. Make sure that you realize this is what the test is exactly going to look like. So it's what, 11 problems, something like that. Not even that bad. Who's this guy? Who's Ben? He's on history too. Alright, so hopefully you get one here. Okay, everyone got a front back kind of a thing? 2 pages? Everyone's got one? Okay, the front back. The back page doesn't have anything, so it's blank. But just make sure it's like a front, back of that page has like a butterfly, and then you have the front with the 2 figures at the bottom. Does everyone have that? Don't have a misprint or anything like that? Okay, so I always get one where it's a misprint and half the stuff's gone and you don't see it. Okay, today, what we're going to do is we're going to walk through your practice guides. We're going to just walk through, if there's 11 problems, our goal today is to get through the first 5. That's it, first 5. So if we can get there. If not, no big deal, we'll just continue tomorrow, okay? So, our Thursday, because we don't have school tomorrow. So make sure tonight, since we don't have school tomorrow, if you have not finished page 61, make sure you take your book home tonight, or take a picture of it and take that picture home, and then you can work on your homework, okay? All right, but we're gonna work on this. So right now, I know there's a lot of vocab at the top, so we're gonna go through that first. I'll post that up here on the board, and we can talk about each of those problems. So that's kind of our goal today. I wanna get through this practice guide. So we're doing section 1.1 to 1.6 review. And we're talking about the practice guide. Okay. On that practice test, I want to try to see if we can get through 1 through 5 and give you some time where you can actually work on it. I don't want to take the whole class to do that. So if we need to like stop at 4, that's fine. We'll do that just so you have some time where you can actually work on it. But that's the idea. And remember, homework is due Thursday. Homework due Thursday. That's September 22nd, and that's the next day we have a class because tomorrow's the day off. Okay, so let's walk through this here. Alright. I'm going to have you go see where Ben would sit. That way I can actually use that. I know. It's inconvenient, but once I have the new cord and it's supposed to be here this week, then you don't have to do that anymore. The cord will actually come up and down right in front of my desk. This is your problem, correct? Okay. Okay, so vocab. Here's what I want to make sure of. You got a bunch of descriptions here. You have a bunch of vocab off to the right. You may use a word more than once. Maybe. Okay, so you might have just a list there, and you might not use some of those words. So just don't be afraid to have to use a word more than once. It may be a rare occasion, but it's not going to be like every word. So you're not going to use that constantly. So the big thing is you got to read the description and then try to find the word that best fits it. Okay, so my goal today is to walk through these. Now, here's what I'm warning you of. Okay, on the test, on the actual test we take Friday, some of these words will be there. There'll be some of the other words that will be there. What I mean by that is, I basically went through your book. I went through your book on chapter 1, and I basically picked every other word. That's what I did. So I just looked at the book and saw every other bold word that we talked about in class, and that's the ones I put here. So some of these words will be on the test on Friday, but some won't. So now you get kind of you can narrow down like what are some of the new words that you need to look up. So you can just flip the sections and see which words I skip. Those are the ones you can kind of look at. Okay, but usually what I do is I always use the definitions I talk about in class. Sometimes it's the exact book definition, but I usually use the ones that I've given you and that are written on the board or I've said out loud. So, okay. So what I'm going to do basically right now is I'm going to basically just go through this list right here, and I'm going to say what the definition is. So what you can do is take a little bit of time and write the word down in these blanks. Now I know you don't have a lot of space. You're like, God, those are small, right? You can write them off to the side. If you want to write them right here, make them a little bit bigger, that's fine. But don't do that thing where you draw lines and arrows. I'm not going to check that. I don't have enough time in my day to check 160 of those. So, so just write the word off to the right. And if you need to make blanks bigger, you can do that. On the test, I may put like more space between there so you have more room to write. So it may not be as many words. I just picked every other. So typically I use about, I don't know, how many words is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, probably have about maybe 14 words there. It won't be all 20 of them like this. It'll be a shorter list, it'll be more compact. So this is just to give you an idea of like what you can expect. So there's always vocab on every test we take. There'll only be a select few that we won't have vocabulary. Okay, but let's walk through these words. All right, a point. The word point, if you want to find it in the description, is a position in space labeled with a capital letter. So again, I'll say that. The point is a position in space labeled with a capital letter. That's the word point. Okay. Are we good? Did you find it? Okay, so it was that. Okay, now here's my question to you. Was there more than one space that had that? It was just the one position in space that was capital letter. Okay. All right, let's keep going. The word plane. The word plane is a limitless flat surface that extends in all directions. So a plane is a limitless flat surface that extends in all directions. Okay. The word coplanar. Okay, coplanar is geometric figures that are contained or are on the same plane. Same flat surface, maybe that's a better term. So geometric figures contained on the same flat surface or same plane. Okay. Are we good so far? Okay, let's keep going. The word ray.
May I have your attention, please? A rep from Athletico is here. If you are a freshman or a sophomore that needs to see someone from Athletico, please go down to the locker room area at this time.
Okay, we good so far? The word ray. A ray is a type of line that goes in one direction without limit and has an endpoint on the other side. So it's a line in one direction and an endpoint on the other. That's a ray. Okay, we good with that so far? If you need me to slow down and you didn't catch that, just throw it out there. Yeah, I didn't get that. Okay. All right, space. According to your book, according to most all textbooks, space is just defined as the set of all points. That's what space is. I know that's really weird, but the set of all points, that's space. Okay, the word congruent. The word congruent is equal in size, shape, and measure. So it's two figures that are equal in size, shape, and measure. That's the word congruent. So again, two geometric figures or objects that have the same size, shape, and measure. That's congruent. It is there. Okay? We good so far? And struggling to find that one? Alright, moving on. Alright, distance, okay? It is the length between objects, the length between points. It's, it's something you can find. That's the distance. I don't think distance is on there twice. Let's see, we're on segment bisector. Okay, a segment bisector or an angle bisector, they have the same definition. A bisector is any line, plane, segment that cuts a geometric figure in half. The projector would actually work, so I could actually see if it's there. So it's a figure that cuts something in half, a line segment or plane that intersects something in half. That's a bisector. Okay, you should see it. Okay. Let's see. We're on to opposite rays. Opposite rays are geometric figures that form a line. That's what opposite rays are. So it's geometric figures that form a line. Maybe not in that exact order of sentence, but something that's a line's formed. It's an opposite ray. Okay? An edge. An edge, that word is basically a big fancy word for just a side of a polygon. That's an edge. Okay? Interior points, or points found inside or in between the rays of an angle. Those are interior points. They're found inside or in between the rays of an angle. Those are interior points. Okay, we good so far? I know I'm going a little fast. Some of you are catching on pretty quick here. Okay. Let's see. We're on degree. Degree is how you measure an angle. So it's the label we use for when you're measuring an angle. The label. That's degree. Okay. We good so far? Okay. If any of you find a word that was used that had to be used more than once, you found like 2 descriptions, let me know. Because I know there's one. I know there's one for sure. You have to use the word twice. Okay. Acute angles are angles that are less than 90 degrees. Those are acute angles, less than 90. Obtuse angles are angles that are in between like 90 degrees and 180. So 90.001 to 179.999. Okay? I think that one's used twice. Okay? Alright, let's see. Adjacent angles are angles that share the same vertex and common ray. So they share a vertex and a ray. Okay, vertical angles. Vertical angles, I know most people think of vertical angles that they're equal, but the idea is that the description of a vertical angle is where it's angles that are formed by 2 intersecting lines. Those are vertical. When you have 2 straight lines that cross, they form an angle. So angles are formed by intersecting lines. Those are vertical. Okay, supplementary angles. Angles that add to make 180 degrees. 2 angles that make a straight line. Or combining to make. I don't know if that one's even on there. I don't know if you have to use that word. Okay. Is that one even on there? Or are they adding like 180? I don't think it is. I don't think that's the one word I don't think they use. Okay. Convex. It's a type of polygon where when you draw a line that contains interior points, it doesn't cross the edge. So no interior points connected by a segment will cross the edge of the polygon. So no interior points connected by a segment will cross the edge of the polygon. It's convex. Bless you. Okay. Let's see. Get your dion in here. Equiangular. Equiangular is a geometric figure that all the angles are equal. All angles are congruent. That's equiangular. Circumference is a big fancy word for the perimeter of a circle. Perimeter of a circle, better known as a circumference of a circle. Okay. Perimeter is the distance around a geometric figure. Around a geometric figure. I don't know if that's what that is. So, okay. Regular polygon is a polygon where all the angles and all the edges are congruent. Now, there's one word that we didn't get in here. What is it? Is there one space that was not used? Which one? Which one was it that we didn't fill? There wasn't? We got them all? Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah, there's only 2 words we didn't use, right? Okay, so that should have been the case. So, okay, on the test, all right, on the test, it'll be something like this. I probably won't have as many words. That was, what, 22 words, something like that. On the test, expect about 14. I'll have exactly 14 blanks, okay? So I'm going to let you know right now, you will use every word once, okay? Does that make sense? That will help you narrow down. There won't be any gaps or like things like this where you have to use two. This is something you need to get used to, like future tests. I might have more words than actual spaces. You may use a word more than once. So those are tough because now you can't do that thing where you narrow it down. First test, I like to keep it a little bit simple. This right now, I'm over preparing. This is hard compared to what you're going to have to do. Okay, we good with that? Okay, let's move on. Okay, we're going on to problem number 2 now. Problem number 2. So this is pretty straightforward. On number 2, you're looking at this picture right here. Let me zoom in here. You're looking at this picture and you're identifying the following descriptions. So you're naming lines. You're finding how many planes. You're naming a plane. You're naming an intersection. And you're finding another name for a line. You know, that type of thing. Okay? The big idea that I'm checking for in problem number 2, are you giving me correct notation? So if they ask for a line, how do you write a line? How do you write a line? How many letters do you have to use? 2, and you have to have little arrows above it, right? So let's do an example of the top one. Name a line that's only in plane Q. So this is plane Q down here. This is the name of it. This is plane R. So can somebody give me a line that's on this plane? That one. NG doesn't work. The reason why, N is a cursive letter. So if you're going to use this N, you have to write it like this. You have to write line N. Line N. And it's like cursive N. You can't do it. It's like cursive N, so it goes something like that, right? Big and fancy. No. No. No, you can't use that G. So the G, because you need another point if you're going to do that. Now, if you use the other one, did you say line Q? Yeah, you could have done that. Line Q. This one? No. Yeah, that one's fine. Yeah, that one's fine. Or you could use HL. HL is a better one. Something like this. These are okay with me. These are okay. Don't just write line G here. Don't just write this. That's not correct. That is not correct notation. You have to use 2 letters, put arrows above it, or you have to use the cursive letter, like line N or line Q, because those are cursives. The hardest part about this picture is realizing that M here is like, it's going through this, and it's actually hitting point H here. So like this line here, that D to C to M to H, it went through and hit right at H. So that's a vertical line. This thing right here is not actually on the plane. It's vertical, going up and down. It's like a piece of bread. M is up in the air. It's really hard to see that. Okay, on test day, if the picture's really complicated, I'll explain something. Like, hey, point M is up in the air. It's not actually on that flat surface. Or D is up in there. You can kind of see that. I wish they would have had this M up here somewhere, not lower where it is, because it looks like it's actually on the plane, which it's not. Okay. This is just a number. That's fine. Name a plane. When you name a plane, you can use the big capital letter, like plane Q or plane R, or you can use the 3-letter system, like plane GHL, something like that. Or plane, I guess it's the top one, right? The top one is line that has N and T. So it'd be plane ACE or BCE. Seriously, does work. Okay. So you have to use the 3-letter system when you name planes, or you have to use the cursive letter in that corner. Okay. Don't use the italicized letters for lines when you name a plane. Don't call this plane MTR. M and T are lines. You have to use points, or you have to use just that one big letter in the corner. Okay, we go to number 2. Number 2 is worth a lot of points. Okay, so you have to name all the lines. You have to name, the plane that contains this. You have to name intersection. You have to name another name. So there's like what, 5, 6 points here that you can get. So just be careful of that. Okay. All right. Let's let's move on. So you can fill that one out. Okay. This one, you have to give me the name or the measure of this object. I'm looking for, are you giving me, 1/16 of an inch? Do not give me decimals. I want to know the fraction. So remember, this is the half, this is the 3/4, this is the 1/4, this is the 1/8, this is the 3/8, 5/8, 7/8. Remember, they go in odd numbers, right? And then, 1/16 and 3/16, 5/16. So I'm looking for what number you hit. So what would this marker technically be? Say again? Yeah, it's a 7/8 marker. So you're 1 7/8 of an inch. So you get 1 full inch and 7/8 of an inch. This is what I'm looking for. Don't give me that it's 1.82 inches. I don't want that. I want to know, what marker did you hit. Okay, if it's in centimeters or millimeters, that's when you can use the decimals. So these were in the book. I just pulled them straight out of the book. So you expect something where it's a picture, and you just have to, there's going to be a ruler underneath it to make, so you don't have to hand out rulers. Okay, any questions with that? Okay. So even that one, that was pretty straightforward. Let's see, number 4, number 5. Okay, this is, on this particular problem, you need to have the drawing before you attempt to start this. What this problem is, it's based on segment addition. It's 2 problems, so this is really problem 4 and this problem 5, that kind of thing. But, so this has its own picture. In the description it says y is in between x and z. So here's x and z, and y is somewhere in between. Somewhere in between, right? So they give you x, y is an 11, y, z is a 4c, and this whole thing is an 83. Okay? So what do you think I'm going to add together and set it equal to? Say again? Yeah, 11 plus 4c equals 83. That's how you do these problems. And then you solve the algebra out and figure out what c is. Okay? Does that make sense how you do that problem? You have to draw it. You have to draw it, you have to label it. Otherwise you don't know what parts to add together. So you got to draw it, label it, like what I'm doing here, and then oh, I'm adding these 2 small sticks to make the big stick, 83. And then you solve. Once you have c, once you have this number, whatever it is, I don't care if it's a decimal, if it's a fraction, if it's a whole number, I don't care, whatever this number is, you have to plug it back in. You have to plug it back in here, or here, whatever you have to do, because the reason isn't you won't have to, unless it's common sense, because there's a second question. They want to know, find the value of the variable, and figure out what yz is as a length. So that whatever that number is, you have to plug it back in here and actually find that length. Well, it's common sense. I can tell you what it's going to be before, because this whole stick is 83, and this one's 11, so this has to be 72. That type of thing. It's common sense. It has to be 72. I don't even need to figure out what c is. I know what that length is going to be. It's common sense. But is there any questions with how you're going to attempt to do that problem? What I want on number 4, you should show me work. You should show me how did you come up with your number for c. Don't just say, oh, c is equal to 5. I have no idea how you got that, and that's wrong. So you need to make sure you're showing the work how you solve for c. That's why I give you some space. Yeah, that's the same thing you're going to have to do for the next one. Okay, any questions on number 4? Okay, last problem of the day, number 5. By the way, did somebody solve that one out? What was that c value? Is it a decimal or is it a whole number? 18? Okay, so you go. So that one should have been 18. Okay, number 5. This is our last one of the day, just for today. And we'll finish up the rest of it on Thursday. You have to find the length of this stick, the length of J to L. Number 1, you can count with your fingers, or you can do that thing where you subtract the numbers. So I'll show you both. So if you're doing JL, from J to L, this is the first one you have to find. J to L, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the distance is 5. That's easy enough. Count your fingers. Or if you're that person that likes to subtract the numbers, like -7 is J, L is -2, so you subtract them, and you put an absolute value. That's your distance formula for number lines. You subtract whatever these values are, the endpoints. You subtract them. So this turned out to be, the negative turns out to be a positive, and this turned out to be absolute value of a -5. And what's the absolute value of -5? 5. Same number. So I don't care how you do it. So if you're that person that likes to count their fingers, sometimes people like to use the formula. It doesn't matter to me. You'll get the same answer as long as you remember you have to subtract. I'll probably have the distance formulas written on the board for you. They'll probably just sitting over there on test day on Friday. So I'll have for distance, I'll have this one. So distance equals that. So that's what you're using. And then below it, I'll have the one where if you have the Cartesian coordinate system, I'll have this one. Or the Pythagorean theorem.
May I have your attention, please? The rep from Athletico is now ready to see any juniors or seniors that need to see her. Please go down to the locker room area at this time if you need to see the Athletico rep.
Okay, so those distance formulas will be sitting on the board. I won't describe them. I'll just have them sitting there or something like that, but they'll be spread out. So you know it. And especially with the Pythagorean theorem at the bottom, I'll probably have a picture of the triangle theorem. But those come up later. But that's what you can expect to see on the board when you take the test. And again, you'll need a calculator. So definitely bring one. I only have like 10 over here that you can borrow from, so you need a calculator. You cannot use a cell phone, so get over that. You can't use one. All right, any questions, comments, concerns on any of the 5? Is there any questions you have about the 5 above this? Did everyone get the vocab done? Because I know that's like the one thing that people stress the most about is the vocab. They just don't remember those words. Okay, remember, I warned you. The vocab words, some of the words that are on the test are the words I skipped in the book. So if you look, I skipped like every other bold word. I would go back and look at those. Or look at your notes and see which words I haven't used. Okay, test is Friday. Homework, page 61, is due Thursday. You have the rest of class today. That's like 12 minutes to work on it. Thursday, we'll go through the second half of this thing, and then I'll give you a timer if you need to wrap up page 61 because it's due sometime on Thursday. But remember, you're on school tomorrow, so make sure you go soon. Okay? All right. Any questions before I let you go and work, move around? Perfect. All right, move around, do whatever you need.
plug in and just.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Thought you put it in there. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Area? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, I know.
Was that? Or you can say it's 9 down. I like the 9 down. Would I prefer?
Oh, you don't have to do it for the test, so like how? Also, for
Hey, Mr. Ward.
I know, just imagine.
I was studying, she's like, oh, it's square, and I was like, no, it's got rounded edges, so.
I know.
She's like, you said square.
Mr. Ward.
Yes.
Can I borrow your calculator?
Yes, ma'am.
Or is it?
Oh, look, I actually got it. I erased it. Maybe you do. I think it's this. Because I can tell you, I'm going for a try. It's like this. While you're at, lateral. I can't fit it. Quad real lateral. Quad width, R-I-L-I-T.
Square key.
Yeah, quad real lateral.
Actually, gives you the correct, yeah. You can change yours to decimals by hitting on the
Water.
Yeah.
Hey, bro. 45 in a minute. Are you throwing it on your calculator? Does that matter? What is it? You are? Oh, you're sorry. I know, but okay, so.
That is not a triangle.
Why is that yours? Okay, so 45 is in that button. 6.7. Oh, yep. Thank you.